to the Convince Me podcast, where we're on a mission to convince you to step out of your gaming comfort zone and try something new. With that said, let's get to convincing. Last time we did a gaming-related episode, it was the Convince Me to Go Back, where Darren tried Deus Ex the Conspiracy, and I tried Jeanne d'Arc. Mine was a bit more of an easier job, because it was a game that Darren had some interest in trying out at some point anyway, and Darren... he convinced me to at some point maybe play it just to experience the opening, because it is not his cup of tea, but that doesn't mean he didn't think it was good. Just meant that he thought it wasn't his cup of tea. This week we are back in the modern age. I will be convincing Darren to try Dead Island 2. Darren will be convincing me to try Thank Goodness You're Here.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited to hear about. But as always, we have a question. And Darren, my question for you is, you're playing a game, right? New game. No, something that you're looking forward to experiencing, regardless of what that may be. But something happens in that game, and it makes you roll your eyes. What is something that does that, no matter when you see it, where you see it, how you see it? What is something that always makes you roll your eyes when playing a game?
Unwinnable fights.
Oh, okay.
I hate the scripted loss so much, because it is inevitable that you can get close enough that you feel like you're doing something, so you expend resources. And I'm not talking about MP type resources. I'm talking about items.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you're dropping elixirs in a Final Fantasy game.
Let's be honest. We all know you don't use elixirs ever, because you're like, but the next fight.
I don't use mega elixirs ever. Elixirs I'll use sometimes, because if you're close and you think you got it, you're gonna drop stuff. You're gonna expend resources on this fight just for some unavoidable max damage nonsense to happen, and clearly you were supposed to lose that fight. But the fact that they will let you blow resources on scripted losses will forever and always irritate me to the absolute abyss of the end.
I think that's a good answer, because it's one of those things where experiencing unwinnable fights has absolutely made me if I try to gauge whether a fight feels winnable or unwinnable or whatever, and then I'll operate my strategy based on that. So I'll get into a fight and I'm like, this fight, I'll attack the enemy, whatever, and I'll do like chip damage. And in my brain, I'm like, there's no freaking way. So I won't try. And then I'll get clapped and it says game over. I'm like, what do you mean? There's no way. Because I've been conditioned to go, if I'm doing unreasonably low amounts of damage, I'm like, there's no way. So yeah, I think it goes that way too.
Isn't that bad that they could build incredible systems into a fight, and our initial knee-jerk response is shenanigans?
Big condition, man.
It could be a deeply crafted, thought-provoking thing where you have to do a certain type of damage in response to when the enemy does a certain thing or says a certain thing in a turn-based game. And in reality, you just go, oh, clearly this isn't a fight I'm supposed to win. You put your hands up. That's so sad. I hate that it's...
And there's really only one genre in which that happens.
Yeah, well, no, it happens. It has happened in some action games, for sure.
Yeah,
think about the first of the new God of Wars when you're fighting Baldur. Right, they're not winnable fights, but you're still going all in trying to, and you still have to get them to a point, but they're still not winnable fights.
They're so good.
They're fantastic.
It's so cinematic.
Oh my gosh.
For me, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. It might be, but I hate, whether it's JRPG, action, whatever, I absolutely despise one-hit kills. I hate one-hit kills. Like, for example, even when it makes sense, because I'm playing a video game, And there are certain situations where Resident Evil. I'm currently playing Resident Evil 9, right? And in Resident Evil 4, there are guys with chainsaws. Up until this point, Leon gets bitten. He gets grabbed and hugged by zombies. All manner of things that should legitimately be a one-hit kill. There's so many other things that happen that should be a one-hit kill, but they're not because it's a video game. And then there's this guy who swings the chainsaw pretty fast, and if you get touched by him, it auto death. And I'm like, I get it. It's a chainsaw. Makes sense. But the other stuff that hits him, that's not one hit kill, but it could be. That's just one example. But I like JRPGs where the boss does 99.99 and you have to have a specific item so that you can resist or whatever. I hate one hit KOs because it doesn't feel like strategy. It just feels like withstand or make sure you have this very specific item.
I have like a caveat to that, like an exception. It's one very specific exception.
Is it the unwinnable battle?
Yes. But no, the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 Sephiroth Sin Harvesting.
Okay.
Those are absolute nonsense. However, they're dodgeable. So if you get hit by it and it absolutely nukes you, most of the time it will just bring you down to 1 HP if you have like second chance or something. But
Yeah.
then of course if he taps you again, that's it. But most of the time if you get hit by it, especially in Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 1, suffers from being a PlayStation 2 game, like a pretty early life cycle PlayStation 2 game. Um, Kingdom Hearts 2, because it had the ability to, press triangle, quick time type style.
Yeah.
If you get hit by Sin Harvesting or you don't like super glide over to him and hit him in just the right time, that's a skill issue. So I think the one hit, one tap death is
If it's an
okay
avoidable hit.
if it's an avoidable thing where it can really truly be a skill issue. Because like really by that metric, most things in most FromSoft games would be shenanigans. Like
Sure.
just call it like it is.
That's
Now
fair.
those games are, because they're all that way. It feels a little bit different, but it's if it can be avoided and it's a skill issue, I don't mind that they exist necessarily. I will say though, the only thing that I think is worse than the one hit kill is the nothing you can do about it, unresistible, complete MP drain.
Ooh.
So fun story. Obviously, no secret that I used to, when it existed, I played a lot of the mobile game Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. And there was one boss that is like legend in the community. It was a limited time around Halloween, I believe, boss. It was called Hasako. It was like fan created and everything, I believe. And on turn 0, as a preemptive strike, because mind you, it's a mobile game, everything is turn based. You go, I go, you go, I go. It would, unless you could spec yourself, your whole party in a very specific way with very certain gear, unavoidable every single party, 0 MP. And in a game like that, that means that you can either guard or attack, unless you have like crazy MP
So
regen on
what do you do?
items. So there were ways to build it, like to build certain things around it, but it became so frustrating that until some of the content creators started putting out like guides for how to build certain things in certain ways, it was undoable by so much of the community, to the point that when they re-released the event later, they had to tone it down.
Oh, they post patched redundant.
Well, I mean, post patch for Dawn, but like the event ended as is, and then it came back in like a different skin, different flavor a year later. But by that point, we had something called a magical cover tank who would just preemptively have magic cover open, so they would be the only one who'd have their MP drained, and you could equip them with certain things that would give them back enough MP on turn 1, like preemptively before you did anything, that you'd be able to use skills. So they eventually power crept that mechanic, but
You,
anything that completely removes your ability to do things is so irritating.
The most irritating fight in Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the final fights because it like that's all he did was just status effects and you just couldn't do anything about it. It was a very frustrating fight.
Ribbons.
I
Ribbons.
don't even I can't even I'm blanking on the strategy I used. But
You use ribbons.
but I use Sid's. But the it's interesting. I don't know. You can't see the screen. I can see because I have OBS up, but I have both of the covers on the screen, and the covers for our games are very similar color theory wise, and that is where
Really?
all of the similarities end. If you look up Dead Island
Probably.
2, and thank goodness you're here, you'll
Oh,
see
sure. Yeah.
it's real interesting. I'm just noticing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
ADHD. So the do my darndest. So I played Dead Island 2, and it is a game that is by Deep Silver, and Deep Silver is known for Dead Island. They are known for Kingdom Come Deliverance, specifically Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was nominated for potential Game of the Year last year. It did not win. Shout out Claire Obscure. And they also developed Metro Exodus, which was a very, very good open world Metro game. For those who don't know, Metro is like a post-apocalyptic horror adjacent FPS, and I really deeply actually love the series, and am excited for I think Metro 4, because Metro Exodus is number 3, and highly recommend. So their pedigree, Deep Silver, has some very decent pedigree. They've truly fought their way like through, because Dead Island, the first Dead Island wasn't very well received. Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 are very target audience type games. Like you have to know what you're getting into for those. So they've learned what they're doing. Dead Island 2 is a zombie game where it feels like they wanted to this is coming from somebody who does not remember Dead Island 1 well at all. But I don't think the first game was like this. But shift to like a more over-the-top... The closest comparison I can think of is Borderlands-style humor type thing. Only in certain parts. So... I don't know if anybody cares, but Dead Island has a very interesting backstory, and I think I can't remember if they continued it for Dead Island 2, but for Dead Island 1, I don't know if you remember this, Darren, there was a trailer for this game that dropped, and it was a very deeply moving, emotional CGI trailer that showed basically in reverse, a family getting attacked by a zombie and converting. Very emotional, really, really well done. And that was one of the first exposures of the game. So naturally, people are thinking like, oh snap, this is about to be like a real serious zombie game. And then you play it, and the tone is not that. It is fairly silly in a lot of ways. Like, the zombies have ragdoll physics, and you can just front kick zombies and send them flying. It's very funny. And yeah, it wasn't exactly what people got from their initial impression of the trailer. I think they did something similar for Dead Island 2, but people at that point knew what it was. So you start this game, and it opens... This is where the I see Borderlands influence, because you get character intros for the people you can play as. It's over the top. They're not taking things seriously. You see character flaws in the people. You get to see who they are, because each character like gets their moment to do something. And the opening of the game is they're all getting on a plane to go somewhere, and the plane crashes. And so you start the beginning of the game, plane crash, and the the character selection screen is very charismatic. Like every character very clearly has character. It's not just like generic John number one. Like they're not generic at all. Like the character I chose had a prosthetic leg, and I can't remember like her traits, but um, she stood out to me the most, so I chose her. And the each character has like different flaws. Like there's stamina and strength and all the stereotypical like trappings, and crits are a very big deal in this game as well. Like there's a whole section dedicated to crits in the character stats. So you pick your character, plane crash, you get out, and then it's your tutorial of navigating. Very standard movement tutorial stuff. So you get out of the plane and you see
First
that
person?
it is an FPS. Yep, first person. And so you navigate your way through this wreckage, and you come out to the other side and see that there's somebody trying to help another person who's trapped under the wreckage. And you have to fend off zombies, and that's when you learn, if you didn't play the first one, because I don't know if you know anything about Dead Island, that this game is loot dropper-ish. I'll explain what I mean. I'll explain what I mean. So you go through and you pick up a weapon, you see that it's white tier. And the game explains that there are tiers of weapons. Green, blue, the whole 9 yards. But the reason I say ish is I have to come clean. Because I know how you're going to feel, but I have to say it because it's part of the game. The weapons have durability. So you pick up like a 2x4 and you start whacking zombies and you go to town. And let me tell you, this game is so bloody. It is so bloody. Like you're seeing blood spurts every hit, every whack. You're seeing brain matter get exposed. You're seeing just so much gore. Which I, as somebody who grew up playing Mortal Kombat, I freaking love. I love video game gore. I love it. But you're fending off these zombies, doing all that. You're breaking them down. Eventually, your weapon breaks. You have to get another one. You get a pipe. All that. So you save the people that you're protecting, and you eventually make your way through LA, because that's where you are, to this person's house. More tutorial stuff of learning how to navigate the world, open locks. You have to get batteries to operate certain garages, and some of them hold secrets that you can find. And then eventually you level up and you get you unlock skill decks, and they come in 4 tiers that impact how you play. They give you different passives, and you can pick and choose. Exploring the world gives you more, leveling up gives you more. So you are rewarded for just going out and kicking zombie butt, because you get levels, you get all these other perks and things through exploring. And then after you finish the tutorial proper, you unlock the workshop, where you can augment your weapons, you can repair your weapons, you can upgrade the weapons, you can break down your weapons to get materials to upgrade others. So the durability, when I was first playing, I for one, I hate durability. It was my biggest gripe with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I hate weapon durability. But the game gives you enough stuff to where you don't really have to worry about it. If you have like a green or blue or whatever tier weapon, then you save that for like a boss fight, and you just use the other stuff around you, or you use your higher tier stuff until it gets to a certain point, and then you save it, and then you go repair it. It's not as annoying as it could be. Like, if you have zero tolerance for durability at all, then like I don't know what to tell you. But it was fine. I found myself using my lower tier weapons mostly because your most contact is going to come with standard run-of-the-mill zombies. That's what you're going to do exploring LA. And that's really the loop of the game. Is you go around exploring LA, you find side quests. Your goal is to try and survive and eventually like get out. And there are like super over the top characters, which in a game that I would say takes some influence from Borderlands. Duh, makes sense. And graphic styling is that's not like Borderlands. It's I mean as realistic as you can have expected. Let me double check my math. I think it was PS4. I believe Dead Island 2 was released on PS4, so like I mean, you're gonna get PS4 stylings. So that's the graphic fidelity it's going for. It's going for like realistic PS4 graphics because that's what it is. So that's the gameplay loop. You go around, beat up zombies. There's like a little bit of parkour to it, not quite like Dying Light or like Mirror's Edge type parkour, but definitely some traversal mechanics. Running around, beating up zombies, getting new gear, getting upgrading your skill deck, making your character play how you want with passives and things, and you do quests and side quests, and it's a very very simple loop that has its flaws. Like I'm gonna be honest, it has what it is. I know my job is to convince you, but I'm not gonna lie to you. It has its flaws. It had the bad luck of being the game I played leading up to closest to Resident Evil 9's release. So a lot of my energy has been focusing on getting ready for Resident Evil 9 and replaying some things. So it's kind of been conflicting with that. But I felt like this game was an unfortunate victim of wrong time for me. But like if you just wanna just like no brain power required, go beat up zombies, unlock new gear, all that, this game is perfect for what you would want.
Okay. Um, so the characters that you pick at the beginning, do they, similar to Borderlands, function as classes?
I don't know that I got far enough into see class stuff. They
Like, did it seem that way? That the characters were different, or did you just pick somebody based on personality?
So, and not in the same sense as like an action skill, but they have unique passives that they get to alter. Like one character's focused on crit damage. One character's focused on like sticking and moving, because if you dodge at the right time, then they get this thing. So each character doesn't have like an active thing that makes them different. They have more of a passive thing that makes them different.
But they're all functionally different.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because their passives are important enough that like you'll have to be aware of them to get the most out of the character.
Do you pick the class or the person before the plane crash?
Yes. No.
Okay.
You pick it. Oh no, actually, I lied. I had to look up an image because I couldn't remember. You pick it during. Like the plane is crashing and you see everybody freaking out, and then it freeze frames, and then you move around the plane to pick mid crash who you want to be. Again, goes back to that character I was talking about.
Man, that is so unfortunately almost one to one Borderlands 2.
That's what I was saying, right? It is.
So, Borderlands 2, you pick one of your initial Vault Hunters on the train, like as it is getting attacked by Hyperion, and then it crashes and you wake up in the southern shelf with Claptrap, just as the only one who survives. Um,
Yeah.
Borderlands 2 came out in 2012.
Dead Island 2 didn't.
No, it did not. I looked. 2023. I have no memory of that game coming out in the last 3 years.
A lot. I feel like Dead Island has not found a large audience.
No, it seems like. And I feel like it has really suffered from the timeliness of when it came out. Because like, based on formula alone, if this game had come out as like a 360 title,
Which
uh,
Dead Island did.
I think they were 10 years apart. So I don't know if it was 360 or Xbox One. Um,
It was 360. It's 360
okay,
PS3.
okay. So I think if the sequel had come out in that era still, when it was riding the height of the zombie horde game, because like in my mind, even as you were talking about this, my brain went, wait, is he talking about Left 4 Dead? No, wait, is he talking about Dead Rising? Oh no, Dead Island, right? Sure. Like, they're all basically the same game with a slightly different flavor.
I mean, it's
And
zombie killing.
right, it's just the difference is this one's first person and wacky, whereas Dead Rising is third person and wacky, whereas Left 4 Dead is, I believe, first person and less wacky. So it's like,
Man, I missed that for Dead.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So I
I it.
the biggest problem that I have, as it's stated, because like durability is annoying, but I can get over it, right?
Yeah,
The problem is if I want like this exact gameplay loop, I'm just gonna play Borderlands.
but Borderlands doesn't have zombies.
I don't care. It has psychos. What's fundamentally different?
So does that mean that you're not convinced?
I'm not, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
Not to
I
take anything away from the game, it just like, well, it's funny because we were literally having this conversation yesterday, that I have moved so far away from caring about shooters, with like the kind of exception for Borderlands, but even Borderlands 4 has not
don't you say
held
it.
me the way that previous entries have.
I was gonna say because you just found out yesterday that you
Oh
have
yeah,
230 hours in the game.
it's true. I'm not gonna say that I didn't have fun with it, but like, I have a whole character who I've now started twice and still haven't been able to take her the whole way through the game.
Because you played it 3 other times.
The first time I started Vex, it was not 3 other times.
Was she your second?
I picked Vex. It was my third.
Oh. Oh.
I picked Vex third. After Harlow and Rafa. Um, but like, even now, they just released a DLC for it, and I played it all the way through once, and I have no inclination to play through it with the other characters, and that's that. Right. So I have moved so far away from the shooting genre that, like, unfortunately, you trying to convince me to play a shooter is complicated.
So, okay. So you're somebody who just you don't have a, a huge interest in shooters. Period.
Not really. I mean, the last shooter that I'd go so far as to say, like, as a shooter, that I loved, was probably playing through Cyberpunk because of the Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, but Cyberpunk is also very
Before
different.
that, before that, it's like, if it's not a Borderlands game, couldn't
Yeah,
even tell you the last game that I played with shooting as a main mechanic.
I
I
can't
mean,
either. Do you imagine Witcher with guns? But yeah, so
yeah,
that
it's called
is
Cyberpunk.
that's Dead Island 2. Looks like Dare wasn't
Yeah,
convinced, but if you're convinced, I mean, if you want to go beat up zombies and whatever, and you're tired of
sure,
COD zombies, Dead
sure.
Island 2, you could do worse. It has character. It's flavorful. It's fun and it's fine. And so if you are starved for zombie content, like, yeah, no, you could do worse. Okay, full disclaimer. This game that Darren is trying to convince me to play is on my wish list to the point where the Game Grumps have played an episode of it, and I avoided it because I am interested in the game. I just have no idea when. So maybe Darren's segment will convince me to bump it up in my queue, my long queue that I have.
Well, let me start by saying that I beat this game in a sitting.
Sure, sure.
That sitting, I would venture to say, was probably somewhere in the like 3 to 5 hour range.
Sick.
Because it's as much as it's kind of open-ish, it's pretty linear. So we'll come back to that. But so thank goodness you're here. Was developed by Cole Supper, although I'm pretty sure I heard them say Cole Super
Super.
in the game, but
Okay.
it's spelled Supper, so we'll take it as it is. They developed one other game called The Good Time Garden. Thank goodness you're here is their second game. The game, however, was published by Panic, and Panic should sound vaguely familiar to you. You may not know why, but it should sound vaguely familiar. Panic also developed the game Despelote, which was just nominated for a ton of game awards.
Is that one of the ones we listened to the OST of?
No, but they also published Hurdling, which was one of the ones we listened to the OST of.
Okay.
So their pedigree is actually pretty fantastic. They also did Untitled Goose Game
Nice.
and Firewatch. So
Man.
they have published some stuff. Thank goodness you're here is intentionally a very simple, like wacky, kind of not kind of overtly British humor game.
Okay.
Now that being said, the comedic timing on the things that occur in this game are probably funnier than most people's favorite comedian. Because it's a lot of situational comedy that like the people who made this they're very talented. I'll just leave it at that.
Is this one of the games where
Because
you're like, did I write this?
no, but it's one of the games where I wish I did.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's not necessarily witty humor. It's things that happen and the comedic timing of those things happening is like it's coming, and yet they play it in such a way that it's phenomenal. But anyway, in this game, you are this tiny little yellow dude. You work for a company who you go in. The first thing you do is you have a meeting with your boss, and they say you need to go to this town. It is the town of Barnsworth, I believe, which is a fictional town in the north of England, because they need their products. You have to go convince them to buy our products. And so they set up a meeting for you and the mayor, and you go. And in your boss's office, you realize that the only agency that you have is to move, you can jump, and you can slap. So it is a joystick and 2 button control. Um, as you're in the meeting with your boss, you realize that the door that you're supposed to go through, that it basically is set up as 2D. The door is in the background and you can't go through it. So you have to go and you whack the water cooler a few times until the water jug pops out, which, by the way, on the water says leaded. So it's like already it's so strange and it's so small, but like yeah, that's kind of funny. You whack it enough times, you take the jug, you push it over, and then your character jumps out of a window. And as you jump out of the window, your boss goes, "What are you doing? The door was right there." And so that's the game that you're stepping into. You go and you plummet and you end up in a bus that takes you to where you're going. And then you're met with this like 1950s television program style opening with it's there's like a British dude singing like a theme song type of thing. it's so strange and it's so bizarre. I can't even place the timeline of it, but it feels very like around or immediately post World War II in terms of the feeling
It's like
of the whole
fever
thing.
dreamy.
Not even fever dreamy. It's like this is a period, and I can't place what the period is.
I mean, like, but the game as a whole, you said it's strange. Does it feel like a fever dream?
No, just feels like a dude in a town in Britain that is made to be intentionally wacky.
Yes.
So you get off the bus, you go, you speak to the mayor's secretary who says he's in a meeting, and you can just sit here for a few, just give it a few hours, and he'll be ready for you. Which is funny because the game takes about a few hours to get through. And so you're just sitting there in the chair, and she's like playing solitaire, and then she also has solitaire on her computer. And then you watch her pick one of the cards up from the deck of solitaire and tries to put it on the pile on her computer, and she can't make it stick. And so then she tries again in a little bit. Like it's so odd. But eventually you end up getting up from your chair and leaving, and you walk through the town, and you end up meeting all these townspeople who inevitably meet you, and the first words out of their mouth are, "Oh, thank goodness you're here."
Sick.
And then they ask you to do favors for them. And some of the favors are logical. Some of the favors have you encountering a group of mice who are trying to overthrow humans and say that they're not real people, in the same way that humans try to say that birds aren't real, type of thing, like similar argument style. Um, and you just end up playing through the game, and you're just doing a bunch of favors for people while you're killing time before you can meet the mayor for your meeting. And the antics of the town are, again, just genuinely funny.
Sure.
Like I can't get into it too much because obviously nobody wants to know the punchline of the joke before they've heard the joke. Um, but it's if you have one of those days where you are waiting for something to come out, like hypothetically speaking, Pokopia comes out next week. Let's say I beat the game that I was playing on Tuesday, and now I have to get through Wednesday before Pokopia comes out on Thursday. This is the perfect in between game because you will beat it in a sitting. It's humorous, and then like it's not one of those games where there's things that you can miss. You literally have to do everything in the game to beat the game.
Did you platinum?
I guess I didn't. It's possible that I missed interactable things that
Sure.
I could have gone and slapped. Listen, it's there's literally a dude who owns a food truck who like keeps opening his window and then leaning over in the background, and you can jump up on his little windowsill and smack him in the butt a few times, and then he gets all mad and pulls the sign down and it says closed for slappy bum bums. like it's just one of those things now, right? But it was fantastic. It was a great time. It was a few hours well spent. And it doesn't because it's not a big time commitment. Like you just pick it up, you play it, you move on,
Sure. That's. I mean, it's always good
and
to
it's
have.
free.
It's always good to have fillers, like in
Mm-hmm.
between game fillers. If you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
play, and you like for me, I have a lot of JRPGs lined up, but it is not a good idea to go JRPG,
No,
JRPG, JRPG. You're gonna get burnt out.
no.
So having an in
I mean, look,
between.
this it's not going to be your favorite game, but it might be the funniest game you've played in a long time.
I'm trying to think of the
It might
last like funny game I played.
some Borderlands jokes maybe from like two.
Yeah, I say Borderlands 2 definitely had a few that made me like stop and laugh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
3 pre-sequel,
Mm-hmm.
4 not so much, but
A pre-sequel had some moments, but
yeah, I'm
some.
man, I don't play comedy games that often.
And it's an adventure game for sure. Like it's you have two button agency, but it is funny, and the funny is what makes you keep pushing through it.
Oh yeah.
And it's in particular, you will find a certain degree of joy more so than potentially most because you have at least as of now this initial tie to the UK and England specifically.
I do. I do. But you know,
And so
I'm
I think that it'll resonate with you even better potentially than it did me. But it was funny. It was funny, dude. It's
I
funny.
like funny. I like funny. I like laughing. Laughing is fun. Laughing is good. So no, I'm convinced. I was gonna try it. It was on my wish list for a while to buy, but now that it's on PS Plus, like, who knows? So you talked about finishing the game that you're playing. You can play this in between. You picked up a new game just a couple days ago.
We'll call it an old game, but I
New,
suppose it's technically
old,
new, huh?
new, old, new,
Yeah. Yeah.
new, old. Darren, what have you picked up recently?
So we're back into the thorny clutches of Pokemon with the release of Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch store. We just got to Lavender Town not an hour ago, right before we started recording. Um,
I know a lot of
and
people.
man, yeah.
I was gonna say I know a lot of people are probably gonna think, and I've had this internal battle. Like, Fire Red and Leaf Green are $20 on Switch, and Darren and I have had this
Mhm.
conversation quite a bit, where it's like that feels like a lot of money for games that are crazy old, and they are. To be completely honest, they are. And if you
Mhm.
wanted to, you could play them for free. You could. They are available for free if you're willing to do that. However, if you are somebody who was going to get a copy of the game to play wherever on your Switch or even a Game Boy Advance, if you wanted to get like a legit copy, you're not paying any less than three figures unless you're getting scammed. And so it's one of those things like if you are going to get it to buy it to play this is the simplest way. Like, I don't like personally that it's that high, but like your other option is paying like 100 plus. And
You
that's
know
just the thing.
what I think is going to be a really underrated component of this, though,
What?
is going to be the fact that, in essence, whatever you do in these games, you can pass those Pokemon along indefinitely because the game will get Pokemon Home support.
Yeah,
And so it's literally like the continuation of memories in that way.
it is.
And I
It
think
is.
that's a pretty underrated thing. I mean, the at the end of the day,
Well,
it's
real quick,
$20. Yeah.
before you explain for people who have no idea what Pokemon Home is,
Mm-hmm,
what does that
mm-hmm.
mean to somebody who doesn't know?
So Pokemon Home is a platform that you can download on the Switch and Switch 2, that is basically like your Pokemon PC on the Switch. So it will, because it's an app in and of itself, whatever game you have saved data for on your Switch, it will pull Pokemon from that like game's PC, and it will store them on the app. So you can effectively pass Pokemon along between games that you have, so long as those Pokemon are supported in that version.
Will they
Right?
be
So
the
I'm not
same
playing
level?
this generation one. Oh yeah, same everything.
Huh?
If there's a held item, it takes that too. But so like you can't go and bring a bunch of Pokemon that have mega evolutions from Pokemon Legends ZA and put them onto Fire Red. But you could plausibly, once it gets support, take these Pokemon from Fire Red and you could bring them to, Scarlet or Violet or ZA or Winds and Waves whenever that comes out next year. And
It
you'll
looks
have
good.
them there so long as those Pokemon are supposed to exist in that game. Now, again, in essence, Fire Red, Leaf Green are 22-year-old games that are remakes of games that are 30 years old. So I'll always understand the argument of not wanting to spend $20 for them. However, I think because of their ability to make memories, give them to people who are just starting off playing Pokemon, let them experience what Generation 1 was like, albeit in an updated skin. Um, and then they can pass those Pokemon along, or you can put them onto Pokemon Home, and you can literally, like, you as a parent in particular, You could take, if your son plays Fire Red or Leaf Green, you can take the party that he beat the game with and save them onto Pokemon Home as a memory of the first time he ever beat a Pokemon game.
Sure. Which
And
that'll
I think
hopefully
that
be in a
is
couple
something that
years.
is tremendously underrated because back then, back in Red and Blue, you needed a link cable to trade up for gold and silver. But they wouldn't even let you connect to gold and silver at the time if on your gold and silver save or the person who you were trading with, if they had Pokemon that were not in Generation 1. So you couldn't even trade with them. Like you could only pass them Gen 1 Pokemon with Gen 1 moves. And then from gold and silver, you had to get them to Ruby and Sapphire, which I vaguely remember you had to do that with. I think there was in Ruby and Sapphire something called like the time capsule, where on your Game Boy, or yeah, I guess with the Game Boy Advance, you could again link cable to a Game Boy Color. Again, you could receive Pokemon from those Gen 2 games, but again, only if you were trading things that could be passed backwards.
So it seems like there were a lot of hurdles and obstacles that,
Yeah.
in essence, have been removed because of the
Yeah,
convenience, which is nice. Which is
exactly.
nice. It's the
And it
equivalent of
just lets
Uber
you preserve
Eats.
memories more.
What's the equivalent of like ordering DoorDash, Uber Eats, or whatever, where like
Mm-hmm.
I I was at work and I really wanted bubble tea. Bubble tea, like the one that I get is like it's not cheap, $7-8, right? Like that's not cheap, but $7-8 for a bubble tea. I ordered DoorDash, Uber Eats, and like my final delivery amount would have been like $25-$30. And it's like if you want it to be convenient in nowadays day and age, like you're paying for that convenience. And so I feel like that's as I said before, I don't like the price, but if somebody does it, like I get it because it is super convenient to be able to play it on your Switch and like anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get on your computer on an emulator, like it's on your computer. That's where it is, unless you take it on a laptop and then you have to carry a laptop around. I guess Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
Sure, but then there's modding that goes into that, like downloading emulators and file settings, and I don't know. That's still more work than I'm gonna pay $20 and now I have it forever.
sure. I you've been playing that. We'll wrap up with the game that I'm currently playing, which is Resident Evil 9, and the amount of reels and shorts that I've come across of people playing Resident Evil 9. It just Resident Evil 9 shattered records. It more than doubled this of the second highest concurrent player count of Resident Evil 4, which was at that time the highest concurrent player count of a Resident Evil game. So Resident Evil 9 is doing well. It makes me happy. It is in recent years become one of my favorite series. I've had many conversations with Darren, but yeah, it's I have about 2 sections left in the game. It came out yesterday as of recording this. So I I should be able to finish my first run through, but then after that's done, that's when the fun for me truly starts because that's when you unlock unlimited ammo and you can do speed runs and stuff like that. So there's plenty more Resident Evil 9 for me to do. But yeah, I think
Oh, what's
we'll.
this? You thought that I wasn't going to interrupt you to talk about Pokemon Day and the 30th
Oh,
celebration? Oh, you're so sorely mistaken, friend. We're going to talk about that. This hat's not on for fun, although it is on because my hair looks terrible at the moment. But okay, so
okay.
the stuff that
Top
they showed,
top three
since you didn't watch
things.
it.
I didn't watch it. Top three things that made you go, "Oh snap! I'm hyped now."
Okay, so thing number one is getting a release date for Pokemon Champions officially, with that being in April. Um, Pokemon Champions, as somebody who has dabbled in competitive Pokemon, um, I love that they're simplifying a platform and also making it cross-platform between the Switch and the phones. So now, for people
Okay,
who compete in tournaments, literally all you have to do is bring your phone to your tournament and you're set. And I think that's
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 pretty
an
neat.
incredible thing. I think it will bring a lot more people to competitive, which is, I mean, that's only a good thing for the franchise. For me personally, though, what they showed was that they showed you could bring over the new megas from Legends ZA, which means at some point we will find out that those Pokemons have abilities and what they are. And that in and of itself is so phenomenal to me. I'm hoping that eventually they will unite all of the previous generations, like gimmick mechanic that each one has had, from like Mega to Z moves to Dynamaxing to things like that. I'm hoping they give access to all of that, but you can only just have one on a team. But who's to say? So, number one. Number two, they showed off some of the scope of the island that you have for Pokopia, and it is massive.
Really?
The city
Okay.
that you, or the town that you get to rebuild for Pokopia, looks gigantic, and they even showed the presence of some legendary Pokemon, which means that it's going to be like, I suspect there's going to be a lot more to this game than just this game. And I'm very excited to find out, which is crazy as somebody who literally has
You don't
never
care
played a
about
cozy
life
game in their
sims at
life.
all.
I've never played a cozy game ever, but this one in particular is like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it. And then, of course, number three, if you've been paying attention to the leaks, you are not particularly surprised that Winds and Waves was revealed and that it exists, although
Yep.
visually it looked fantastic from what they showed. But more importantly, we got the official reveal of the starters, and every single one of them looks amazing. I love a literal angry bird with leaves for eyebrows. The idea of a fire Pomeranian is charming. But man, give me a Gekwa all day. If again you believe the leaks and the rumors, its final evolution is going to be called Riptile, and I love that.
Oh,
That's one
dude.
of the best names for a Pokemon I've ever heard.
They don't know what they look like though, right?
We know what the starters look like,
No,
but
what
we don't
they're
know
what
what
they're.
it's going to look like now.
Okay, so
Mm-mm.
what was Pombon's?
I don't know. I could probably go find out, but I'm not going to say anything because it's unconfirmed.
Oh,
But like, if in fact it is Riptile, that is one of the greatest names of a Pokemon I've ever heard, and I'm so on board for it. But ultimately, it will all depend on, typings and things like that. What actually captures me, enraptures me, holds me in the night, things like that.
yeah. No, I'm looking at Pokopia and it is not up your alley at all.
I know, isn't it great? We're gonna step outside of our gaming comfort zone and try something new.
Oh snap!
He said the thing.
He said the thing. Roll credits. That's
But no,
exciting.
I'm pumped. I think I love Pokemon as a franchise. I'm so excited that it is still pumping out the way that it is, and more important than that, I'm so excited that liking Pokemon has finally really become an acceptable thing to do,
Because of
because I feel like
scalping.
our whole lives growing up, like, and video games in general, right? We've talked about this on the show before, but Pokemon specifically, like, you were such a loser if you liked Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. And the fact that Pokemon has just really and truly entered into its own colossal space that is so accepted, and so it's such a tight community for a community that's as large as it is, and I love every part of it. I
See,
was talking to
I'm
Ryan about this yesterday. My dream ultimately would be to do something with Pokemon in an official capacity.
sure.
So like, comment, and subscribe, and share this so that Darren can live out his dream of working with the Pokemon Company.
you, one can only hope. Um,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, we'll call it there. There's lots of things, fun things on the horizon. I am in the process of figuring out my order of attack because there's a lot of games I have and will be getting, and I need to think of what order to play them in. It's I am spoiled by choice, which I absolutely love in the big
Sure.
2026. Darren not so much, but he has Pacopia, so who's the real winner here?
Between Pocopia, Witcher 3, and whenever the Borderlands DLC comes out next month, I mean, there's stuff to do. We'll see.
But with that
We'll
said,
see.
next time we meet, Darren will be convincing me to try Fate Samurai Remnant, which is based on an anime he's never seen, nor have I. So it'll be interesting to hear about it. I will be convincing Darren to try Battle Chasers Night War, which is a turn-based RPG based on a comic book of the same name. Either comic book or graphic novel. I think it's a comic book. But with that said, thank you for listening. We appreciate you being here. And yeah, love you all. Take it easy. And Darren.
Are you convinced yet?
I hope so. Bye.